Some good flowers today.
Yeah. They shouldn't unless
Brown
somebody
and
gets
Mason.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. We're about to start the meeting of August the 18th. Good grief, the year's almost gone. Before we do, I'm going to stand for a moment of silence and follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance to our country's flag. Anyone who would like to join me, please feel free to do so. Join in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. First off, we want to let you know that Ms. Brown is listening in from Florida, but without opposition, we will forego the roll call votes tonight. We'll just continue as we normally do, unless someone's opposed to that. Anyone opposed? Seeing none, we'll move forward with that. First item on the agenda is the adoption of regular agenda. Is there a motion? Motion approved by Ms. Bachman, second by Mr. Daniels. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Daniels, second by Mr. Wise. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda, consideration of minutes, discussion and interaction regarding the minutes of the July 21st, 2020 regular meeting. Is there a motion? Motion approved by Mr. Daniels, I think? Or Mr. Second by Mr. Gregory. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the recognition of hearing and delegations. And we're going to turn it over to Ms. Hayes first, I think.
Oh, I'm going first?
Yep,
Great.
you're first on the
The
agenda.
girls are going first.
The girls are going first, all right.
Okay. Well, this is a very important day in history. Right, girls? Right. Right. Ladies, girls. This, Kurt. Good. This date in history, 100 years ago, a lot went down in Nashville, Tennessee, and there my glasses just broke. Anybody else got readers? I don't even know if I can read this without my glasses. 100 years ago in Nashville, Tennessee, there were two groups. The suffrage, thank you, Beth, always coming through. The suffrage movement, the women for the right to vote, and the anti-suffrage movement. And if you would just indulge me for a few minutes, I would like to read you a little bit of history about this date. The 19th Amendment and the War of the Roses. The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on any account of sex. Congress shall have the power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. I love stories, true stories. In the hot and muggy month of August 1920, a national drama brought its final and perhaps most spectacular act to Nashville. A year before, on June the 4th in 1919, the United States Congress had voted to append 39 words to the Constitution. Simple, straightforward words. But for all their brevity, they packed a punch. Nearly everyone who read them or even heard about them felt provoked to take a stand. Those 39 words comprise the 19th Amendment, which, if ratified by 3/4 of the states, that would be 36, would give women the right to vote. Well, by August of 1920, when the issue was to come before the Tennessee State Legislature, the amendment was one state shy of ratification. 35 states had passed it, despite the mere sliver of a margin that blocked ratification, the suffragists and their supporters knew victory was not inevitable. Indeed, the anti-suffragists had good reason to hope that if Tennessee failed to pass the 19th Amendment, the Perfect 36 would never be realized, and the law would die. What ensued was the War of the Roses, with its primary battle waged in Nashville during an oppressively hot August. Well, the town was teamed with New York, Chicago, Washington, and Boston reporters, celebrities such as the national suffrage leader Carrie Chapman Catt traveled to Nashville to help spearhead the drive for ratification. Well, she joined forces with prominent Tennessee leaders in organizing a strenuous female advocacy. Tennessee women from rural and urban backgrounds, different social classes, and different races worked together in writing letters. They were making speeches, and they were canvassing legislators. Can you picture this in downtown Nashville, the state capitol? Despite their diversity, they were united under a single symbol, the yellow rose. Despite the yellow roses were in vogue in Nashville that summer, but so were red roses, the flower of choice for the anti-suffragists. Even the legislators showed their colors by wearing the roses on their lapels. Extensive lobbying was conducted by both sides, much of it done at the historic Hermitage Hotel. As legislators passed from one lobbying area to another one, a rose would come off and they would exchange for the other color. So if I'm lobbying for it and I'm talking to legislator Scott Langford, then I would convince him and he would change his red rose to the yellow rose. Right, Scott? Right. However, on August the 18th, in the Capitol chambers, counting the number of red roses worn by the representatives, the suffragists knew they were in trouble for the pending vote. By the roses, it appeared the amendment would be defeated, 47 for and 49 against. In the first roll call, Representative Banks Turner came over to the suffragist side, and the vote was deadlocked, 48 for, 48 against. One vote short of a majority. The second roll was taken, and the vote remained 48 to 48. With wilted collars and frayed nerves, the legislators squared off for the third roll call. A blatant red rose on his lapel, Harry Byrne, a Republican from McMinn County, and he was the youngest member of the legislature. He was 24 years old. Suddenly broke from the deadlock. Despite his red rose, he voted in favor for the bill, and the House erupted in pandemonium. With his yay, Byrne had delivered universal suffrage to all American women. The outraged opponents of the bill began chasing Representative Byrne around the room. In order to escape the angry mob, Byrne climbed out of one of the third floor windows at the Capitol, making his way along the ledge. You all have been down there, you know this ledge. He was able to save himself by hiding in the Capitol attic. When tempers had cooled, Byrne was asked to explain the red rose on his lapel and his yellow rose vote. He responded that while it was true, he was wearing a red rose. What people couldn't see was that his breast pocket contained a telegram from his mother in Nyota, Tennessee, that urged him to do the right thing and vote in favor of the amendment. The telegram read, "The power of a mother. Dear son, hurrah and vote for suffrage. Don't keep them in doubt. I noticed some of the speeches against, period. They were bitter, period. I have been watching to see how you stood. but I have not noticed anything yet. Don't forget to be a good boy and help Miss Cat put the rat in ratification, your mother, who Governor A.H. Roberts signed the bill on August the 24th of 1920, and 2 days later, the 19th Amendment became national law. Hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. Wow, the power of that telegram to that young son. That's all they needed was that one vote, and we have law. Tonight, I want to take a moment just to recognize the women who have gone before us on the Sumner County School Board and the women that are now serving on the Sumner County School Board. In a future date, we would like to have an event and host when COVID is over, and have these women gather with their families, and those that have passed before us, then their families would be notified and would be involved. But tonight, I just want to take a moment to read these names, and before I read first, let me just share that tonight we have the honor and the privilege of having Miss Bonnie Edwards, who served, started in 1974 and last to 86. And Miss Bonnie Edwards, when talking to her, she's a wealth of information. And we need to sit down with Kay Hurton Archives. I really appreciate Kelly and Kay helping to pull this together. She was the first chairwoman voted at large in the county. And when she finished that term in 86, the county commission was making the decision to change it from an at-large county vote to districts. And there was a little debate going on at that time about dividing the county up in districts and have district representatives. So this was an at-large vote. And then Beth Cox is with us tonight, and many of us have served with Beth. Beth was the woman chairperson of the Sumner County School Board, nominated and elected by her peers, her fellow district leaders. So I'm just proud to have both of these women with us tonight. We're so grateful. We're so grateful. And Melinda Patterson Turner, her mother is listed on this, is here representing her family, and Kara Fowler is Melinda's daughter, and Kara is very involved at Indian Lake Elementary on the PTO board and future school board representative. I'm grooming Kara. If you'll just allow me to list these women in chronological order for you, and we honor them tonight, and we're grateful for these women who stepped up to serve and answered the call. Sarah Berry, Alma Rooney, Adelaide Baker, Gladys Moore, that is Melinda's mom, Bonnie Edwards, Kathy Stone, Betty Carol Purcell, Mary Ralph Bradley, Nancy Roth, Sharon Lyle, Beth Cox, Vanessa Silkwood, Nancy Glover, Janet Arnold, Alice Bachman, Patricia Brown, and we miss you, Patricia, Tammy Hayes, Sarah Andrews, and Betsy Hawkins. So thank you, and I just appreciate what an honor and privilege it is to serve with you all. Thank you.
We're gonna get a picture? They already got one picture. Yeah. Okay, good deal. Very interesting. Enjoyed that. Great to have all these wonderful women that was there before and that's here now, and those to come. Alrighty. Next item on the agenda is Miss Alice Bachman. I didn't know all that. That's very good. Very interesting.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's really hard to kind of follow that, but I appreciate what you've done, Tammy. That was awesome. But it's my privilege tonight to introduce Dave Mooney. I think most of you have known Dave for some time, and he is here going to brief us again on the VFW scholarship programs that the students in middle school and high school kids can participate in and win some scholarships. So without further ado, Dave, would you like to come up?
Thank you, Allison. Before I get started, I have a couple packets I'd like to hand out.
We can help you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, good evening, Chairman Brewer, Vice Chairman Blockman, Director Phillips, and all the members of the school board. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here tonight. I am the Senior Vice Commander at VFW Post 9851 here in Hendersonville. And I want to thank Ms. Blockman for helping arrange this opportunity to discuss our 4 youth and education programs that the VFW conducts throughout Sumner County. Tonight I'll primarily talk about the efforts of VFW Post 9851 and our efforts in the Hendersonville area. But these programs are also available from Post 9806 in the Westmoreland, Portland, and Gallatin area, and Post 2120 in the White House, Cross Plains area as well. They all work with the schools that are in their geographic districts. The first program to talk about tonight is the Patriots Pen Contest for students in the middle schools. The students are asked to write a 300 to 400 word essay expressing their views on an annual patriotic theme, and this year's theme is, "What is patriotism to me?" The students submit their essays to the local VFW post, Hendersonville, Westmoreland, and White House, where they'll be judged, and then the overall winner is passed to VFW District 4. The District 4 passes that winner to the state level, and then the state level is entered in the national contest. Each level provides a monetary award for the winning student, and the national VFW winner will win a $5,000 scholarship. We give each award to each of the schools that enter. We pick the best entry from those schools and reward those students. Last year, from the 3 posts in Sumner County, we had 129 entries and essays to read, and review and judge, and then pass those on up through the various levels. The next program is the Voice of Democracy competition, which is for high school students. They're asked to prepare an audio essay and record their essay. The judges then listen to the speech and read the speech and select the winner. This year's theme is Is This the Country the Founders Envisioned? The national winner of this competition will win a $30,000 scholarship. So these are very large sums of money if you manage to go on up the way. Each state winner receives a trip to Washington, D.C., excuse me, where the national winner is announced. Again, awards are made at the post, district, and state level, and we select the winners from each high school. The overall winner is then passed up to District 4 for additional judging, as talked about before, and we select then a winner for the state competition. 6 years ago, Post 9851 District 4 and Tennessee State winner was a student from Station Camp High School. She got a trip to Washington, D.C., where she earned several $1,000s more in scholarship money beyond what she earned as her awards at all the various levels that took to get there. The third, last year we had only 20 entries on that, so I hope you can work with your high schools and encourage them to write essays. I would love to have a larger number of essays. I know we have a large number of high school students, including my grandson, so hopefully we can get some more entries this year. The third event is our recognition of the Teacher of the Year for the elementary, middle, and high school. So we recognize one teacher from each of the grade levels. We wouldn't get the grade entries from our middle school students and our high school students if we didn't have great teachers here in Sumner County. And this is another way for the principal and others to recognize the teacher that does some great work for the school and their students. Each school is requested to nominate a teacher, and then again, they'll be graded at the post-state level, and the national winner wins a trip to the National VFW Convention and is recognized there. Nominations can be made by teachers, can be made by the principals, can be made by a concerned parent, okay? Last year, we had 38 teachers nominated in Sumner County over all 3 grade levels. Again, I think we have a lot more teachers than that I would love to see entries in and have more opportunities to recognize the teachers. I will shortly mail entry forms and brochures similar to what you each received tonight in the package to the principals and guidance counselors at the Hendersonville area schools. A request that you, as you visit your schools, discuss these programs with the principals and the guidance counselors and encourage them to submit entries for these community outreach and recognition programs. The deadline for submitting all these entries is Halloween, 31 October. So don't mix it in with your candy, but get it down in the VFW Post by then. The final event I want to talk about is the Young Americans Creative Patriotic Contest, which is conducted by the VFW Auxiliary. Here, high school students can submit their original artwork to the VFW Post, and this has a different date of 31 March 2021 when the entries have to be received. So they have a good portion of the school year to work on their art project. And again, the post district and state levels are judged, and then the state winning entry is submitted to the National Auxiliary for judging. The national winner will receive a $15,000 scholarship. And several years ago, we had a student from Beach High School who was the national winner of this particular contest. So you can see we have good teachers, good students throughout the district, and I want to keep recognizing that and do that tonight. So my request tonight is do as a board is you check with your assigned schools and encourage the teachers and students that you talk to participate in these programs so that they may financially benefit from it, basically, because there is some good scholarship money as they get go on in there, you know, in thousands of dollars if they win the state and higher. Oh, excuse me, the masks are killing when you got to talk. So I want to thank you tonight for this opportunity to discuss these important VFW youth and education programs, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions that you may have at this time.
Mr. Duncan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was always told to make sure you know the answer to the question before you ask, so I'm going to ask something I've already read here. But it's the eligibility. And here it says clearly a student does not have to be related to a VFW member or auxiliary member to participate. And a lot of people believe that these programs and organizations that offer these type of scholarships, you have to have a family member or relative that's a member. You do not have to be a member.
That is correct.
To participate. I just want to make that abundantly clear so that we can have more applicants move forward with these opportunities.
Thank you for bringing it up, and then as I make some announcements on Facebook and other things, I'll try to work that statement in. I've always known it was open to everybody and didn't think of that, so I appreciate that info tonight.
Thank you for what you do. This is a great service to our community and a service for all the veterans and everything you've done for our country, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Any other questions tonight?
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Ms. Hawkins?
Yes, I was wanting to know, make sure I understood you correctly, that from each high school, for instance, with the program, the video essay, is there a winner from each high school that moves to the next level?
No, I grade, let's say I'll grade Beach, Hendersonville High School, Station Camp are the ones that I do in the Hendersonville area.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will take the winner of those 3 schools that we think has the best score from their scoring, and I will forward that one to the next level.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Hawkins, any other questions? Seeing none. Mr. Mooney, we sure do appreciate what you do. You're doing a great job. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good night.
Appreciate it. Thank you. We'll give Ms. Bachman a minute or two.
Thank you, Alice. Where you must have sit behind me. I know she wanted your chair, but I didn't know where.
We need her back up here for a minute or two. Next item on the agenda is executive session. I don't see Ted, thank goodness, so we don't have to worry about that. Next item on the agenda is reports from the director. Dr. Phillips.
All right. So real quick, we obviously had a really good start to the school year. I think I mentioned that to you guys when we had our study session, which is a couple of days into the school year. Our teachers, our campus leaders have done a tremendous job. I think it's obviously been a huge success with all the challenges that we had in front of us to start the school year this year. I think people are getting more comfortable about being at school and being in that routine. I've heard overwhelming comments about the phase in. Obviously they did like that for the beginning of the year and have asked us to look at that again in the future if that's something that's allowable, and I know we discussed that previously as well. Obviously K-5 all in school this week, and that seems to be going well. I think our teachers were excited to have all of them back at one time and see them together. And then next Wednesday we'll look at the next 2-week cycle, which is consistent with what we told parents we would do. And so next Wednesday afternoon, we'll be giving you some information about what we're going to do for the next 2-week cycle, and whether that will be to continue on the hybrid model for middle school and high school that we currently are in, or whether that will be going to full in-person for middle school and high school. So that's really the choice that will be made next week on Wednesday. A couple other things. Obviously, we have athletics that started this week across the county. And so Mike's been working hard with athletic directors and coaches, obviously through the summer, on how they handled practices and weightlifting and conditioning and those kind of things. But now that we're getting close to game week and game time, how we handle some of those changes to operating a game, certainly like anything else, you can have a great plan, but the first time you do it, you might realize that maybe we need to do some other things. So Mike's been meeting with ADs and high school folks about how to make that happen. We have football this week, and so I think we have where some games were canceled, I think they were able to get some opponents to play, and so football is here. And they'll do online ticket sales, and some of you may already know that. So there'll be some space seating and comply with what TSSAA is asking us to do to host events. But all of that's been in the works for quite some time. One thing that I did want to mention with that Andy and Jennifer have been working on in school nutrition, we're going to start allowing parents to order food, meals for the upcoming day online, and then have a time that they pick that up the next morning for that day. And this will be for anyone that's on the hybrid, obviously the days that they're not at school, but will also be for children that have chosen to go virtual. So they can order food and then come get it, even though they're on the virtual schedule. So I think it's a good thing. I think that shows, kind of like we did in the spring, that we are trying to do everything we can to take care of the education, but also other needs that our students and families have across the county. So I know Andy and his team will be rolling that out. Andy, Jawan?
It's ready.
It's ready.
It's already posted, so they can get on tonight.
So it's actually live now, so we'll start taking orders from parents about meals if it's a day that they're not going to be at school. And obviously, if they're middle school and high school, Wednesdays obviously would be everybody that's not at school at the school building. So with that being said, that's it. Just a quick update.
Thanks, Dr. Phillips. Any questions? All right, seeing none, we're moving on then. Next item on the agenda is new business, discussion and interaction to approve bids for Latimer Lane and Hunters Lane water main extension for Liberty Creek. Director recommends approval. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion approved, Mr. Duncan. Second by Mr. Daniels. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is 2 through 12 of all kinds of things that we've already went over, and the chair would welcome and entertain a motion to group those together if the board so chooses. Well, we'll have to come back to that in a minute. Let's get them to group together first. So move by
I'll make the motion that we.
Ms. Andrews beat you to it, and Mr. Gregory seconded. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries, so the items have been grouped together. Now we need a motion to approve those. And if you would put in your motion to waive the second reading, that would be great too.
So moved.
So moved by everybody on the board. So we'll take Ms. Andrews and Mr. Wise seconded. So any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, unfinished business, discussion and interaction regarding amendments to the general purpose budget. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Daniels, second by Mr. Wise. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion and interaction regarding amendments to the federal budget.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Wise, second by Mr. Wilkerson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none, motion carries. Next item, discussion of study session items. We'll open that up with Mr. Johnson first.
So this next study session, we are probably going to bring you, we're going to skip section 4 of the policy manual because that's a lot of instruction policies, and Mr. Langford seems to have had some other things going on recently, and so he hasn't been able to review those instruction policies. We are pretty close to getting section 5, which is mostly human resources policies, done, and so we'll skip 4, go on to 5, and then we'll revisit sections 4 and 6, which are the instruction sections, at some later date when it kind of calms down for us, as we all know it will. So, and that's pretty much what we got for the next study session.
All right, if y'all have anything you want to discuss or whatever, as always, just let Dr. Phillips or Mr. Johnson know, and they'll work that out with you. Next item on the agenda is communication from, I'm sorry, Mr.
I've got
Daniels.
one thing to add to the study session agenda. I've been approached by Gallatin High School about naming one of their facilities after a distinguished alumnus, and I would like to add that to the next study session agenda, please.
All right, sounds good to me. Mr. Johnson will take care of that, I'm sure. If he don't, he shall surely be flogged. I can't help it, guys, I'm sorry. Next item on the agenda is communication from board members. Ms. Hayes, you've already started talking pretty good tonight, so we'll let you keep on rolling and go ahead and start us off with that too.
Am I limited? Oh, thank you, Chairman Brewer. And I did want to, I was remiss in saying that Alice Bachman serves as our vice chair. This is the second time that you have served in this position. So appreciate you, Alice, and thank you. Thank you for your service. I'm going to give a shout out to Andy Brown. Andy, it's your night. Andy arranged the roses. I delegated a task, and he completed it beautifully. And also, I just appreciate the willingness to work with our parents and teachers in our community from all our department directors. But Andy did come to Indian Lake Elementary last Wednesday. We met at 8 o'clock in the morning. Kara serves on the Indian Lake Board, and just that teamwork of from the county level, and then what those parents can project to raise funds for. It gives them an idea, and they've got their sheet of projected projects. So I just appreciate that willingness for it. We're all stakeholders in our children's education, and I'm very grateful. Also, my prayers just continue to go out to all of our department directors, our teachers, our administrators. This has been a challenging season from March to today. Our educators just continue to go over and above. Their focus is on educating these children. They have worked through their frustration, their anger, their tears, for the pure motive of educating children. So I'm just very grateful. So just continue to pray for them. And thank you, Chairman Brewer.
Thank you, Ms. Hayes. Ms. Bachman?
Thank you again, Tammy, for pulling this all together and for all of your work that you've always done. We have a great board and appreciate everything that everyone has done. And for everyone at Central Office, Scott, your group, everyone has done an amazing job through this very, very difficult time. And I'm hoping that we are beginning to see light at the end of the tunnel right now. So I just want to thank you all very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bachman. Ms. Andrews?
Yeah, I too just want to say thank you to Ms. Hayes for organizing just a commemoration of what today means for us. I really appreciate you bringing everyone here. Appreciate our former chairs coming as well to celebrate this day with us. I want to commend our state legislature. If you did not have the opportunity today to watch their live reenactment of what Ms. Hayes shared, it was incredible. I was thankful to have my kids home. They may not have been thankful to necessarily be home, but I hope that they look back at some point and do appreciate that we did watch that together. But it was just incredible, and it was great too to see Demetria Galadimos. I'll have to be honest, as a native Nashvilleian, that kind of hit my heart too, just to see her to be a part of that. So I just want to give a shout out to them because it really was done very, very well, and I hope that several of our students might be also able to watch that. And again, Scott and your team, y'all are incredible. Naomi, I know you're working your tail off as well with a lot of different changes as far as what's come down from the federal government. Norma, I know you've worked hard, challenges upon challenges. Your job is always challenging, and I know that this is no different, and I know that you have worked very hard to rise to the occasion, so I just want to say thank you. And although she is not here, I want to say congratulations to Ms. Pritchard.
Yes.
And just wish her the best.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Mr. Duncan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight is one more example of why we're all proud to be Tennesseans. It's a fine story, and Ms. Hayes, thank you for sharing it. A lot of people don't realize the detail that Tennessee participated at for that to move forward. So that's a wonderful thing. I'd also like to take a little different angle on tonight's comments. We've all seen what the administrators and teachers and everybody has done since March. It's a spectacular thing. But I'd like to take a moment to thank the students for their patience that they've had in the first few weeks. I've seen it at my house, the frustration and the confusion, and they've worked through it. So I'd like to, again, I don't suspect a lot of them will be at home watching this, but at some point in the archive in the future they may look back on it. But the students, I'd like to thank them for their patience in working with their teachers through this difficult time. And I'd be remiss if I did not comment on Andy's ability to arrange flowers. I think he's got a career in his retirement years. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Ms. Hawkins?
Thank you. 3 things. Number 1, I want to echo the commendation of all the staff, the educators, the administrators, the students, and the parents for for all that they've been through so far and working together to meet the common goal of having our children having this excellent educational opportunity. Secondly, I want to thank Tammy for putting together such a wonderful story. It's a true story and it has a happy ending. And that just was so delightful to listen to. And number three, I just want to share a happy moment just driving here tonight, driving by Gallatin High School, the sights and the sounds of Pride of the Green Wave marching band out on the field practicing with Mr. Earl up in the tower hollering down at them. That was just such a wonderful sight and sound, a feeling of normalcy, that what we can have, it's going to come, we're going to have it. And just seeing that made me feel so good that we are going to get there. And so that was just a happy moment for me.
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Mr. Daniels.
I echo what the rest of the board members have said. It's been a great start to the year. Our teachers, our administrators, our staff have put in a lot of hours, and it's great to see it being pulled off in such a successful way so far. We know there's going to be challenges as we continue to move forward, but I have faith and confidence in our staff that we'll be able to handle those as they come along. I'd also like to thank Andy Brown. I don't know if you all noticed when you were driving in today, there's been a lot of work done over at the Gallatin High School football stadium, and he and his team have provided a lot of assistance in helping that come together. So the home side looks almost brand new, and so thank you for your work there. The last thing I want to mention is Ms. Hayes started off today with the day of celebration and recognition, and she mentioned that there was a lot of hate and vile that went on during that debate, and I can only imagine with those that were openly supporting the suffrage movement within the legislature, some of the things that they were probably hearing, and I think as board members we probably all heard a lot of that, some of the same thing over the last couple of months as we've gone through this discussion of open or close or hybrid schedule, and many of the other things that are going on, not just in our community and our state, but across this country. And I think it's important to remember that we have a responsibility as adults to teach our children how to act, and they learn from us. And when they see us saying things or posting things on Facebook or social media, they pick up on that and they take that with them into the schools. And unfortunately, we had a child the first week of school at Gallatin High School that took their life from some of the bullying that was going on at that school. And some of the things that were being said to that individual. And, I pray that we do a better job as leaders and as parents of making sure that we teach our children how to act and how to treat each other better, even when we don't agree. We can have different opinions. There's nothing wrong with that. We live in a democracy. That's part of what our founding fathers created for us when they put our Constitution and our Bill of Rights together. But it seems we're moving to a point where we don't believe in that anymore. We're either right or we're wrong, or we're right and you're wrong. And I think we've got to do a better job of just stepping back and thinking about what we're saying, because our kids are hearing it, and what we're posting, because our kids are reading that. And they're taking that as fact into the schools. And if they see us treating others with little respect, then they think that they have the ability to do the same things. And so I just challenge us as we move through the school year to try to do a better job of being open to others and their opinions and the differences that we all have together, and continue to work together to make this community the great community that it is.
Thank you, Ms. Daniels. Ms. White.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I would like to share some sadness in the White House area schools. Miss Beverly Lempicky, a nutrition worker at White House Middle School, husband suddenly passed away yesterday of a heart attack. So our condolences go out to that family and our prayers for that family. Secondly, I would also like to publicly thank a lot of people. I won't call any names, so Mr. Brown, you won't get a shout out from me, who worked on my campaign. that was a less than fun election cycle. I thought my wife was going to shoot me on several occasions, but we won, and I'm excited to serve the 8th district, specifically the county in general, for the next 4 years. And I just want to thank all of those who were involved, and you know who you are, in that effort. So thank you very much. I think I heard somebody say that we're going to play football Friday night. So it's time you got your BDP. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wise. Mr. Gregory?
Miss Cox, he's still doing this stuff.
And I won't stop.
I'm glad to see Miss Bonnie Edwards. I remember her being on the school board when I was a principal. And of course, Miss Beth Cox served, what, 8 years?
Well,
And both of you were wonderful ladies, good board members.
I needed to hear that, but I think y'all have greater challenges than we had.
If I make it through the meeting tonight, it'll be 14 years. My first year was a 2-year term. My first term was a 2-year term. And I was glad of it because I was going to just, I thought I might not like it. And parts of it I haven't liked. But if I make it home, this will be 14th year tonight. And I counted up, if I'm not mistaken, I've served with 28 different board members. And I learned something from all of them. I really did. Some what to do, some what not to do. I remember Mr. Wise I can't believe I'm bragging on him.
I can't either.
But he made a statement one night that you keep one eye on your district and one eye on the other 10 districts. Well, sometimes one of those eyes get tired. But I am thankful that I've had the opportunity to be on the school board, and I get a lot of feedback from the Kentucky line. See, we have buildings within 4.5 miles of the Kentucky line, and I get a lot of feedback. Last night I was notified about what the Warren County, Kentucky school district did. They're starting the school this next Monday, K through 12, hybrid until fall break. That's what they decided to do. One other comment I'd like to make. Ms. Cox, we're still on this. I hadn't heard much about it in probably 3 or 4 years until this year. Did we start the school? And I'm glad we did. Every county that touches us started after we did, or will start after we did. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe it is. And I have had this brought to me, and I haven't mentioned it. Believe you me, Mr. Johnson and I, we earned our salary the last few days, didn't we? But I haven't mentioned this, that we have other counties are trying to get fake addresses and get students into our county.
We have that every day.
And I'm sure have you been notified, Dr. Phillips, about this?
It's every day.
Every day? Oh. Well, I don't hear about it every day.
No, that's every day of the school year. Every school year I've been here.
And I know you have I know you have a plan, you have visitors, all,
Yeah,
but I hadn't even had time to mention that.
yeah.
And I think it's been more in elementary school than high school that I have heard from. And it's good that we're all back together. I kind of predicted a couple of weeks before the election. In fact, I think I told Mr. Langford, you're gonna get the same group. So here we are.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You do a good job.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Mr. Wilkerson, if you would hang on just for a second. We mentioned that Miss Brown is in Florida and we miss her. And to prove how much we missed her in the lineup here. So I'm going back to Miss Brown. Miss Brown, you have something you'd like to say? You're on.
Yes. I would like to thank the cafeteria staff and the school principals for making it food available to kids during the home while they're doing their schooling. And I think that's probably a difficult job. And I think they're doing they're trying to do the best they can for everybody, which is really good. Thank you. And I do miss y'all.
Thank you, Miss Brown. Well, don't miss us too bad. You have fun. Mr. Wilkerson.
First, I'd like to say that the Noah Searcy family has been in my prayers and thoughts. You know, unless you've been in that situation, you have no idea what the family's going through. I'm thankful for all the staff that put together such a smooth start to the school year. You know, the hybrid schedule's working out perfectly, I think. A lot of teachers that I've talked to are really excited about the way it's worked. I think they're kind of wondering how bad it's going to be when they go full time, though. And I would like to congratulate everyone for their re-election.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkerson. That brings it to me. I'd like to say congratulations to Miss Andrews and Miss Hawkins and Mr. Wise and Mr. Gregory, all for their re-election, my re-election. Congratulate me too. Well, thank you. I'm on the roll tonight, I'm sorry. But I'd like to congratulate all y'all, glad you're back. We do have a great board. It's a pleasure to work with all of you. And you can look back and see the things that's been accomplished through this board and really be proud of it. And I think we're gonna have great things ahead. I am saying right now, put it down in your history books, I am not doing this again after this 4 years. So, we'll see. I had a rude awakening. I was telling everybody I was going to be 63 in November, and I found out I'm going to be 64 in November. So it was a rude awakening, but I'm awake now. That's why everything hurts. I'm understanding why everything hurts now. So. I want to thank Ms. Hayes for bringing up all the things that you brought up. That was very interesting. I didn't know all that stuff. I did know that I don't know how we'd make it without the women in the world. I learned all kinds of stuff from my wife all the time. She taught me how to dress. When we got married 41 years ago, I'd go in the closet and come out and she'd say, "You gonna wear that?" And I no. And so now she don't have to say anything, it's just a look. I walk out the closet, she looks, I make a U-turn, go back in. And so anyway, we learn a lot of things from women. Glad to have them. Don't know how we would make it without them, and thank you for bringing that to light. It's great that they can vote and help us to do the things that we need to do. and I better shut up and go home. So with that, we'll be adjourned.